That's adrenaline. And you're sitting still. The easiest thing to do is just to take a quick walk, burn it off, exercise, do some kind of, physical exertion to burn that stuff off, and constantly tell yourself there is no emergency and everything's fine. And you self-talk yourself down from that, which is the reason why I teach you to self-talk in your journal. Don't invite that negative stuff, because if you bring the negative stuff in there, what you're doing is you're saying, I'm pursuing right. And right is not the goal here. Consistently profitable. And if you're only framing that in the context of right only, you're going to take trades that are going to be outside the parameters that your model is, because you're thinking, this is one of those times where it's going to move and it's outside the kill zone. And, I got time. I just think it's going to go up there, and let me just get in there and push the button. And you know damn well doing it, you're doing everything wrong. So you're not going to be in there low stress. You're going to have a panic attack worrying about it. And you're not even going to trade it right. You're going to submit to the first 20 seconds of it, and you're going to be counting every minor fluctuation that goes against you, thinking that it's going to be the next tick before it runs 20 handles against you in one straight shot. Boom, you're stopped out. Not just a little bit stopped out. You're way stopped out. That's what your mind does to you. It tricks you. And if you trade like that, it's because you're over leveraging, too much risk, or you're trading outside your model, and you know it. And subconsciously, your analyst in you is saying you're doing things wrong. And retail Rick's driving. You've put the analyst in the back seat or left him at home, and you're shotgun with retail Rick, and he's had too much to drink. It's not going to be a good outcome. So your conscious will talk to you. And as you get more experience, as you get better at this, and you have more wisdom because you've been doing it longer, that voice will be a lot more comforting, and it'll guide you. And that's the thing that when you're asking me as students, how do you trust and how do you know that the market was going to reverse like that? How do you know that it's not going to go past that low? It's experience. The analyst is in me saying, these are those instances where it does this. You've seen this before. So here's what we do. This is what we don't do. This is what we expect to see. That is what? Predicting. It's not reacting. It's predicting. The trader anticipates. The analyst predicts. The gambler sits in the back seat and shuts the fuck up. We don't want to listen to the gambler. We're not giving the wheel to the gambler, but they're always going to be chatting. Yeah, but we could have bought more. You should have held longer. This one did better than that one. You bought the wrong pair. Shut the fuck up, Rick. It's hard to filter that out. The part of you that is always going to look for what you didn't do right. Because retail Rick is constantly looking through the lens of right. You should not have that in your trading at all. But you're going to have it as an internal wrestling match always. Because you're going to criticize yourself. And there's never going to be a bigger critical person on this planet than you are. Nobody could troll ICT harder than I troll myself. When I don't do what I'm supposed to do, I live that shit for years. Maybe it's not that way for you, but it's human nature for us to be judgmental with ourselves. And sometimes with mental illnesses, it can manifest itself in very toxic ways, either inwardly or outwardly. So it's important that you constantly be reminded that we're not pursuing being right, okay? It really is impactful when you go into your trading day giving yourself permission to not be perfect. If you're wrong, it doesn't mean that says failure. It just means you're wrong. And you can be wrong and make money. That's what a sound model does. How can you be wrong? How can you be wrong and make money? Partials. They work every fucking time. There has never been a partial that was taken in a trade that did not yield a gain or profit. It cannot happen. A partial profit is profitable. And you take that when it offers it to you. Then, if the trade doesn't go to your targets or target final terminus and stops you out on the balance, guess what that means? You were wrong, but you made money. Books don't teach that mindset. Educators don't teach that mindset. They've been doing it since I've been talking about it, but I don't mind being a trailblazer. That's why I'm here after all. Blazing trails for you all to ramble on behind me and then find your own trailblazing. But you have to know what you're doing. You got to know how to predict price. You have to know how to predict the future. I've said it many times, folks. It's in the name of what we're doing. We're trading futures. We're dealing with the future. Everything about what we're doing is predicting the future. But when you don't understand how to predict with a great deal of consistency what the future is likely to do, then I guess it makes sense for someone to have the mindset that your job is not to predict the future because we don't know how to do that. So therefore, let us relinquish the pursuit of anything like that and just adopt the alternative, which is let's just react. Let's react to it. Like a knee-jerk response when your doctor takes that little rubber triangle hammer and taps you on your kneecap and your leg involuntarily just kicks up. Every time I went and got a physical, I used to always try to force myself. I'm not going to move. I'm not going to move. Boop, and my leg would jump. I'd be mad. I don't want to react to certain things. And unfortunately, because I'm bipolar, many times I'll react to shit that I don't realize I'm reacting to until I'm already revved up. And nobody can talk me out of it. They can't talk me down. It's just got to do its thing. But in trading, it's the only thing in my life that has been a means of talking, engaging, and being able to be the closest thing to normal that I can imagine as someone as a bipolar person. It's very difficult for me to stay balanced for a long period of time. And if I'm watching price action, all of my focus, all of my attention is on these fluctuations inside these candlesticks. And if I'm talking and providing a narrative, in my mind, when I'm doing the live stream, like the live sessions, I'm talking to you about it, I'm literally talking out loud the things that I'm thinking. Like that's exactly what it's like in my head. Look at the Twitter spaces. I don't shut the fuck up, except for catching my breath once in a while. That's what it's like in my head. Non-stop, every waking conscious moment, my mind is constantly going. There's never a period of quietness unless I'm meditating and I'm only able to wrestle with 3 or 4 things then, not 500 of them all at one time. So price allows me that beautiful distraction and my attention is there. And I'm literally talking to myself internally the very way you hear me talking over the charts when I'm doing the live streams. I'm just saying it vocally. I'm audibly making it come out of my mouth, whereas it's just in my head. I'm saying everything just like that nonstop. I'm looking for this to do this. I want this price to be here. I don't want it to go past this candle here. It can touch that. That is reading the tape. That's why I call it that. You don't need a depth of market. That's not reading the tape. That's looking at a gimmick. I'm looking at price. I'm reading price. I'm reading the minds of everybody out there looking at that same chart. Like Dr. Xavier. He goes in there and puts his little helmet on. He can get out there and get in everybody's head. That's what ICT's doing. When he's watching his 1 minute candles, I'm in all your heads. I'm the ghost in the machine. I'm in there hijacking shit. I'm in there overriding retail logic and being on the other side of what they're trying to do. I know what they're thinking when they're thinking it. I know where they're placing their stops. I know why they're going to move their stops, when they're going to move their stops, what they're hoping to see in terms of where price is going to go. As much as they don't want to say they're trying to predict price, they may not say it in the circles they hang around in, but they're trying to predict price. And I know what they want to see in price. And when I see what I know is likely to happen, and it's wrestling with that logic that they're holding on to, hoping with gimmicks and bullshit, I have a high probability trade. That's the ones I tweet. That's why they work. The things I tweet, those instances are exactly the very moment when retail logic is arm wrestling what I teach you. And it's losing. My shit works. That's why the things I tweet pan out. I don't just go out and tweet whatever comes to mind. I'm waiting for that moment where I have most of the things I like to see in my favor. And then it goes to script. Before I started this Twitter space, I sent a link out. I said, go watch the Wednesday live stream. Go to the 3 hour, 5 minute and 30-second mark. And you'll hear me outline where I was saying, people ask, why don't you explain to us what makes you see a trade or when a trade isn't good for you? How do you differentiate something that's in the charts? Like, how do you know when a trade's really there? What are you looking for? Well, again, it gets back to experience. You can't, think about what you know now. Do that for a second. Think about what you understand about fair value gaps, the 2022 model, how price goes to old lows for liquidity, above old highs for liquidity, and time of day when certain things form. You didn't know that shit months ago. Look how much more you understand now. Now try to think about how you, that didn't know what you know right now, how could you understand yourself explaining your present understanding to how you didn't understand it then? That's the predicament I'm in as a mentor. You need to experience it. You need to see it. And knowing yourself, because you're the same person back then and here right now, which you have more understanding, you know that no amount of talking, no amount of jawboning about what it is and what it isn't, your ignorant self, before you've learned how to do what you know now, would never appreciate anything. Even if you yourself went back from the fucking future, you would be like, what the hell are you talking about? Because you weren't there day after day, week after week, for now, a couple months now, seeing it explained before it happens. You can't take that experience and articulate it. Words aren't going to reach far enough. It's because you have experience. So that's what I mean when I say, when certain questions are asked, how do you this and how do you do that? Experience, 30 years. And you're getting that experience every time that we spend time together. When you're looking at your own chart studying, you're getting that experience. You don't realize it. It feels so not infant, but it feels so insignificant right now because it's early in your development. Every time a baby tries to start to stand up, it hasn't been able to even stand on its own yet, but it tries to stand up and it falls over. Every little time it does that, it's incremental experience. And finally, one day you come home from work and your kid can walk around. It just happens like that. But it didn't just get up out of the womb and start running around. It's incremental. But you have to have patience. But you're not going to learn it fast. It doesn't happen that way. But the best way of doing it is seeing me explain it real time. And there is no gaming of TradingView when you're calling it real time every minute. Sorry. When you record your trades, entry, placement, management, there is no gaming that. It's what it is. The last 2 days, even though I wasn't with you all, early in the morning before the morning session because I was running around in the banks and such. I spent time with my older students, and I was calling the market with them, and they watched, the markets pan out to script there too. I mean, they're used to it. I mean, when I used to teach every single day for them, they would see those types of things on a daily chart, the hourly chart, and 15-minute chart, and 5-minute chart. You all have been conditioned to expect that now from these concepts because I've been doing it with you all since last year. In November, all that stuff stops, and you'll have to depend on your own time and energy put into this. But by then, you'll know what you're supposed to be doing. You'll know what to go in and practice your drills with. And I practice still. I know how to do this, but I still practice. I take myself into events like non-farm payroll, and I study, where do I think that the liquidity is for this? On the CPI number, I told you the boundaries of how far that we're going to reach for liquidity for CPI. And it dropped like immediate right down to the sell side. Went one tick into the level beyond it, lower, and then right on up. Pretty neat. That's the game I like to play with price action. When I know I don't want to trade it, I want to see how will my algorithm reach for price action. Where is it going to reach for? Where's the liquidity at?